Oh, what is up, podcast world? It is me, Brent Mukai, voice actor, improv trainer, entertainer. How you doing, Mookuleles? How you doing, all you Mookateers, the League of Extraordinary Brentlemen out there? How goes it? It's been a busy week for me, and I say busy, and I mean busy. It's what has happened, what has transpired since Friday. So I had the shows. Taught some classes. So last Saturday taught an ongoing voice acting workshop. Tuesday I taught another workshop. Yesterday I started the first of a 4-week course of classes. I'm remembering now that I still have not sent an email back to my homie who asked me how it was going. Let's see. I'll have to look at it after. I'm teaching another class tonight, so this will be a shorter episode, but packed with some stuff. I'm in a weird space. I just got off the phone with my mom, and I had called her because I realized that as I'm learning about sales and learning about just how to do this, how to sustain myself, and really, because all I'm doing is selling myself. That's my job, is to sell myself once I have the product, which is my workshops that I offer, and me as a good teacher, and me and my voice and my versatility as a voice actor, right? I have all that. So the next part is the sales part. And God, is that difficult? It's not. I'm finding it difficult. It's not something that comes naturally to me. So, my mom was a saleswoman back in Hawaii. Like, I never thought of it like that because she went by. She was a pharmaceutical and a dental representative for Procter and Gamble. So, and she was the only one in Hawaii, basically. So. She would go in, get different medicines. She did pharmaceuticals for a little bit, but most of it was dental. And she would go in and tell them, this new toothpaste with fluoride is better than the toothpaste you have, so you should buy it from me, as opposed to our competitor or whatever. And I didn't know this very interesting story, like I knew it from my side, which was when I was a kid. She would take me into dentist offices and doctor offices. So in my life, I was always kind of sitting around in an office of some sort, which I guess maybe is why I don't feel weird when I know that people feel weird when they walk in like hospitals or whatever. I never do, because it's just like I grew up, and I realize now it's because I grew up just living in, not living there, but when I was a kid, my mom had to pick me up from school, and the school, if she had to go make an errand to one of these places to go, bullshit around with a dentist or a doctor, then she would go do that. And as a kid, it was just really annoying. I didn't have any perspective at all. I didn't ever ask or think about it. She never really told me what was going on. She was just like, I need to go talk to my doctors. And I would also help her just grab fucking cases of samples of toothpaste and toothbrushes from her storage, which I always hated doing. That was like the worst. I just hate storage facilities because of that. But yeah, I didn't really connect the dots and put it together like that. That's not a really, typical way for people to grow up. My mom was the only one in the entirety of all the islands of Hawaii to be a sales rep for Procter and Gamble in those fields of pharmaceutical and dental. So when I don't know, I just kept thinking about it, like, oh yeah, my mom was in sales, so I said, I'm doing sales now. Why the fuck am I not asking somebody who did it and was really like the top of the game? Like, because of my mom's sales ability, like she just kept climbing ladders, and like it's just interesting because she got to a point where they got rid of her job which was going to these dentists' office, and she had to become a pharmaceutical rep and sell these new drugs, for, you name it, heartburn or osteoporosis medicine type shit. And she did that for a number of years. And I remember as a kid even her hating it because she had to make new friends and do all this stuff. So it was like she almost had to start over. And the lack of her presence was so big that they reopened her position in the dental field, and asked her to come back to the dental. So she was still in the same company. She was still within the same company, but she is crazy. It was crazy, and what I didn't even consider and what I didn't even really think about was how crazy it was that she was this mom and she was in her 40s, 50s, doing all of this stuff. 40s, 50s, yeah. Late 40s. My mom was 37, 38 when she had me, so she was in her late 40s when I was a kid, early 50s. And I honestly, I never would have considered how much of a challenge that is, especially in the sales thing. And what we just talked on the phone, and which part of what she told me was that, oh my God, I'm not even on this, or I am. Oh, cool. I thought for a second I had not plugged my microphone in. What does this go to? What is this? Sorry, ADHD kicking in, everybody. I saw the USB thing. I hadn't recognized how really spectacular that was, that they let her keep her job to start over again, and then when they wanted her back again, they asked her back to it, because she's competing with people that are just young and hot, just like girls. That is the typical, you want to sell something, get 20-something-year-old girls to go in and do this. So it's my mom was that until she retired. Like they wanted to keep her on. She was the one who chose to retire, so she, at 60-something, was still going, and decided that she didn't want that life. So just very interesting gaining insight, and it was nothing I ever really asked her about or talked to her about, but she was giving me great ideas. She was and just stuff that I've known for forever, right? Like being a good person, being nice, being a nice, good person wins out in the end. I truly fucking believe that. There's no other, there's nothing more valuable in your skill and personality arsenal than just being a genuinely good person and being trustworthy. She said if people like you and people trust you, they'll buy whatever from you. And I think I believe that, and I think that I've grown into that, right? And I've really learned that through watching the way that she operates and the way that she is. I inherited these what we call soft skills now, right? Just being nice and trustworthy and honest, just being a fucking honest person. So it was really interesting getting some advice from her. I considered putting it on the podcast, having this talk over the phone with her on the podcast, but I had two options in that case. One was that I tell her, and she said, and then she's weird about it, and then we can't have a genuine conversation because now she's thinking about being on this podcast and being this whole thing. I know my mom, that's her. She would be thrown off by it, and the conversation wouldn't have been as good. Or two, I don't tell her about it, and then she goes off on a tangent of some private information that I then have to cut, and then. So those were my two options, and I decided I just have it off the podcast. But it's interesting going through this journey, right? And it's interesting going through my life and what I'm learning. And today I was thinking, man, I just know so fucking little. I know so fucking little about these things that I'm going into because I'm new. You know what I mean? I'm new, so that's granted, that is a thing, but I'm staying humble in where I'm taking information from, and I'm sitting here my God, I have like awards, like trophies my mom had. My mom had trophies that, like, very expensive glass fucking trophies. Like, she couldn't care. She didn't care about them. Like, she hung them up and she just was like, nah, whatever. And then when she made the move, she was like, do I really care about these? She's like, not really. Just like threw out these like gorgeously made awards. And I was, man, how stupid was I that I had never considered asking her for help, because she was my mom, what the fuck did I know, or what the fuck did she know, like, it's my mom, but it's interesting, because if I had known someone like that, I would want to sit them down and ask them questions and pick their brain about stuff, but I never had, and I yielded a lot of good information, just a lot of stuff that I knew already, but just reinforces it in a different way, and gave me some insight. It was some weird insight into, I was thinking back as she was explaining these things, like, oh, I remember that you used to, throw these parties for these doctors and dentists, and, take them lunch, and, bring them free samples of stuff, like in exorbitant amounts that they didn't need, but they still loved. And she was like, no, there's nothing anyone likes more than just receiving a gift. So I gotta do shit like that more. I just gotta. That's a part of it. That's a part of it that I'm not doing. I'm like, I have the personality part to it, right? And she said, like, yeah, like, you're likable. It seems like people enjoy you, so that's a big part of it. But it's all the other ancillary stuff and stuff that I need to get better at. So yeah, it just very. And it was crazy thinking back and thinking that she wanted me to be in that position. I don't know if I've discussed this on the podcast, but I basically had like a really, really good paying job like lined up. Like, my mom was wanting me to take over her position. She wanted me to graduate from college, get hired by P&G, and then have her say, look, this is my son. He's a good guy. He can make relationships, so bam, let's do that. And that just wouldn't have been me. I would have been making tons and tons of money, would have been making huge amounts of money, but was it what I wanted to do? No. Like, looking back now, like, if I could have trained and, done that job for like 3, 4, 5 years, really gotten sales experience, that would have been pretty cool, but I wouldn't have been ready for that at 22. Like, I graduated at 22, and she kept being like, get a degree and then you can take my job. I grew up with a ton of exceptional advantages that I just always took for granted. I took it for granted. I think everybody takes their lives for granted and what they have and what they really actually have. Everybody's victim to that, and so now I'm trying to be less of a victim to that and learn. Just sit down, buckle up, and just fucking learn shit from people. God, my mom, like, looking back, she's incredible. I bet there's a lot of teaching stuff I can learn from my dad. Like, he's a teacher. So it's just really interesting. It's just really interesting to, your family, you never really look at it as sensational or spectacular, because you take them for granted. We take things for granted as human beings, That's my whole job of communication expert, or maybe not expert, but, running these trainings is I'm breaking it down for you, because we take communication for granted. And that's human nature. We take things for granted. We settle into a mode and a way of being and a mode and a way of doing things, and then we just kind of stay in that mode. That is the human mode, because it keeps us safe. Routine keeps us safe. So the question is, what is your routine? Are you routinely doing something? Are you working towards the things that you want? Is that what you really want? Are you following your dreams? And if you have a dream, I think you have a responsibility to yourself to follow it, and to at least take the first simple step, right? The first really, really simple step into seeing if it's actually your dream or not. And maybe you'll figure out that it's not your dream, or maybe you'll figure out that it is your dream and you'll take the next little step, or you go into it and you figure out that it's not what you wanted, but something similar to that within that field is actually something you wanted. How many people go to film school thinking they're going to be a director and then come out the other side an editor? Or they think they want to be an actor and come out the other side a director, or think they want to, it's insane to me that people are afraid of taking the first fucking step to something that they want to do. And it's like, just take the simplest first step. Take a class in whatever it is that you want to do. Take a fucking class. Look at a webinar. Take a webinar. Do that shit. Right? Just look at it. Look at it and see what it entails, and maybe you'll figure it out. I had to go to college, spend a shit ton of money to figure out that I didn't want to be a screenwriter. All I wanted was to be an actor and a fucking performer. And to teach people. And I didn't even know that I wanted to teach people until I figured it out and got an opportunity to. Because I was doing improv, and improv was something that I enjoyed, and comedy and all of this stuff. Right? And then it comes down to figuring out what you like and what you're willing to spend your time doing because you're passionate about it. And like, I'm breaking down really how to just live a life full of the things that you want to do. And you might say, well, I have responsibilities, I have all this stuff. Fine. Just take one thing, one simple, small step, one little step, because everything else is excuses. Take one little step into something that you think you might enjoy, and see if it's for you or not. And you'll get it. You know what? You'll get a better idea, and you'll gain some insight, and then you'll be closer to figuring out what you do like and what you don't like. Sorry to go on that rant. I'm part of this is talking to myself, because it's like I need to. Sales now is becoming something that I'm getting really interested in. I'm getting really interested in how people think, and how people what motivates people to buy a product, right? Because then that means that I can be a better winner in the field that I want to be in, because then it's like, well, I'm selling myself, right? And who am I selling myself to? I'm selling myself directly to consumers, but I'm also trying to get an agent. I also decided last night, right, that I got to get specific with my goals and specific with my dreams. So here is something that I'm going to put on the record right now. The date is February 6th, 2019. And I am saying that before I die, I am going to be the voice of Superman in something. I'm saying that right now. I am going to be the voice of Superman. And now I have accountability. Now there's accountability towards that. How am I going to do that? Let's figure it out. Let's figure that out, really. Let's just see, right? How do I become the voice of Superman in like a DC project, like in a real legit DC animated thing? Well, I have to know who is in DC. I have to, the DC Comics world in animated. Then I can follow that closely, and I can then start working towards getting an agent. Who does that person work with as an agent? Boom, get into there, right? How do I get that agent? Take those agent classes. Start making a relationship. Start going to LA and shaking hands, right? Maybe hit up people that are within that agency and ask them for advice. Just cold asking them for advice. There's like, if I'm gonna be that specific, then that's gonna then it's gonna manifest, and I'm gonna be able to tell my story of how I went from here and said on this podcast for the first time ever, because it is a dream without. I would always say, I want to be in a DC character and I want to do this. There's always going to be Superman in the media. Superman is always going to be in the media. He's just an iconic character, and you'd be stupid not to have Superman in one shape or form. Why Superman? Because as a kid, the Superman animated series was like one of my favorite. Like superheroes, DC, Justice League, like it was just honestly one of my favorite fucking things. And I always was fascinated by Superman. I grew up in the generation where everybody idolizes Batman. But I'm just like, Batman was like one really good therapy session away as a child to just being a normal dude with $1 billion. like, what the interesting part about Superman Batman, and I'm gonna nerd out for a second here, is that they're both so opposite and different, but in different ways, right? Because Batman is from Earth, but he does not fit in. But to me, it's like he doesn't fit in. He could do something about that. He has the means and the money. Go, I just never, like, it's cool. Batman was cool. But what was interesting to me about Superman was that here's this guy who lost his entire planet, who now has to grow up on a different world. So he's always going to be an outsider. No matter what he does, he is always going to be an outsider. But he strives to fit in, and not just fit in, but to thrive and to do something with the gifts that make him different. Right? The very thing that makes him a complete outsider, he turns into his superpower and becomes someone stronger because of it. A man from a different place whose destiny is to never fit in, yet all he wants to do is fit in and be, and help. And as much as he could run away and never, just become a shutout, an outcast, he doesn't. He chooses the harder path, which is to try to fit in and to be praised for going above and beyond using what makes him different. And that's something I genuinely gel with, right? I'm different. I've always been different. I've never fit in. When I was a kid, I did not fit in anywhere. Like the energy, the crazy weird energy that I have, I didn't know how to channel that as a kid, so I was just everywhere. I was bouncing off walls and shit. I was bad. Like I was one of the bad kids. I was one of the problem childs. I was one of the problem children. I was one of the problem children in school constantly. My parents almost put me into a special private school that dealt with behavioral problem kids. That was me. I was different. But I wanted so desperately to fit in and to just be a person and just be normal and just be looked at as a person. And part of that is what's created the communication side of it, is that I had to learn those things. I had to learn how to be an effective communicator. And I had to break it down for myself. These are the basic, bare minimum things that occur, right, as I'm doing it. And so I never took communication for granted because it was something that did not come naturally to me. And I turned what was the very thing, right, the very thing that was my the reason why I didn't fit in, which was my weird energy, my obsessive, nature into things. When I get, interested in them, I obsess over them. I turned that into my superpower, and now the energy that I have is something that people compliment me on, right? My genuine enthusiasm, my way too much enthusiasm is something that people enjoy. And now, like, I not everybody, obviously, but people will tell me, like, it's infectious. Your energy's great. And it wasn't, I had to learn how to channel that and use that and turn that thing that made me different and weird into my superpower, my ADHD, all of the things that prevented me from fitting in as a kid. So I relate to Superman in that way. And Superman was always more interesting to me. Because at any point, Batman could just give it up and say, I'm going to just go be normal again. And Superman never had that option. He could not ever be just a normal human being. He could hide, he could pretend, but he wouldn't be. He was from a different planet, a different world, a different place. That's why Superman to me was the inspiring thing. He strived to be more. Right? Batman And I'm not trying to talk shit on Batman. I enjoy Batman comics. I do. I enjoy them deeply, but there's something about Superman that always drew me in more. There's something about just everybody can relate to not fitting in a certain place or a certain area, and then having to work hard and strive to get there. That's Superman, and that's me. So I'm putting that in, and I look forward to, 15, 20 years from now, re-showing this exact video, like re-showing the clip of me saying for the first time, I'm going to be Superman. And putting that up against, me playing Superman. That'll be cool. Will it be 15, 20 years? I don't know. I don't know. Could happen sooner. Could happen later. But in my lifetime, that is the goal. I am going to be Superman. That is me. I am Superman. I just want to say that over and over. I am Superman. He symbolizes everything. Everything that I love. Everything that I am. He's the symbol of it. And I was drawn to him as a child. And I always loved superheroes because that was the thing. And he was the model for me. I didn't get into Marvel as a kid. I got into it later. DC was it because they had the animated series that were fucking phenomenal. And Superman was always like, he was always the best. He was always the best. And I didn't realize how much I related to him on that level until later on in life. Like, looking back, that's why I enjoyed the Superman, the animated series. Batman, the animated series, I also enjoyed, but it was a little more adultish, so maybe that was a part of the reason why I didn't enjoy it as much. But it was Superman to me. Dude, like, he was the guy. He was the guy! Well, have I gone on that rant long enough? Let's do an improvised commercial, and I got to get out of here and get to my next class that I'm teaching. I'm teaching a storytelling class tonight. What do I want to talk about? Let's talk about let's talk about Crest. Crest toothpaste. It's my mom's product. Crest and Oral-B. It's Oral-B. Okay, Crest. Hey, Procter & Gamble. This one's on me. All right. Are you looking for healthier teeth at the start at the gum line? What? Are you looking to detoxify the toxins in your teeth? Are you looking for some whitening therapy? Some whiten with benefits? Well, have I got a product for you? Crest Pro Health Advanced is the best toothpaste on the market. Why, you ask? Because it gives you a deep clean. It gives you extra whitening. And its combination of scope mouthwash with it will help you smell and feel your best right where you need it the most, your mouth. So protect your mouth from cavities, improve the health of your smile, and learn more about how you can take care of your mouth at Crest.com. Crest. We have toothpaste. I don't know what their tagline is. It's weird that I don't think I've ever heard a Crest commercial. People just know Crest. People just know Crest is the shit. It's the motherfucking shit. Anyways, everybody, yeah, I gotta go teach this other class. I'm super excited, and then I'm streaming later on tonight. This weekend is the last weekend of the play that I'm going to be a part of, so excited about that as well. And until next time, take it easy, everybody. I will see you Friday, and hopefully after this weekend I'll have more time to get some guests onto the show. Let me know what you think. Drop me a line at Brent Mukai, BrentMukai. Thanks for joining me on my journey towards Superman. All right, everybody, take it easy. Have a great day.